So in about 3 years, I grew myself from this short, skinny, insecure kid to what I look like now. And in today's video, I want to go over why dirty bulking is the worst nutrition mistake any beginner can make, because I did it and look, it just made me look fat, right? So I want to teach you exactly how to avoid it and exactly like the alternatives of what to do so that you can get to this lean, athletic, aesthetic kind of look instead of this like fat, chubby bloke right here. So, first of all, what is bulking? You probably do know what bulking is, but just in case you don't, if you do, you can just skip around the video. But a calorie surplus is what is needed to bulk. So bulk means to put on weight, and the way you do that is purely based on calories. But hang on. If you want to gain weight, if you want to simply gain weight, then you need to eat in a calorie surplus, which basically means you burn a certain amount of calories a day, whether that's from running, whether that's from doing any kind of cardio, or it's simply just existing. The average person burns about 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day, just normally, like their body just does it, right? And so you would need to eat more than 2,500 calories to gain weight. So for example, if this person, we'll go for this example, if this person ate 1,800 calories, they would need to eat 2,000 calories to gain weight. Does that make sense? I couldn't actually find a picture online, so I've got the calorie deficit, which is the opposite, it's losing weight, and calorie maintenance, but I don't have the calorie surplus, which is what I needed, which is not ideal. But that is simply how to gain weight. However, lots of people see that on, you know, for example, Sam Sulek and people like that, they're drinking like chocolate milk and everything. And they're like, yeah, this is the best way to gain weight, just pack on a ton of calories. Because surely, if the only way to gain weight is to eat more calories than you're burning, if you eat a ton of calories, like way over what you should, then you'd put on weight, right? And that leads to a lot of people just eating a ton of crap, essentially. Like, this is my mate's snack, as like his bedtime snack. Like, oh my god, I used to eat cakes like this and everything. It was just terrible. I wasn't actually trying to bulk at this point, but I'm just giving you an example of, you know, how many calories this kind of stuff has. It's just insane. That's probably got more than 700 calories. But lots of people do it just to say, or just to get the calories in, right? Calories in, calories out. However, calories in and calories out is weight change, but it does not equal muscle change. You can gain weight, but it might not necessarily be muscle. So the only way we can sort of understand what weight we're putting on is how much protein we're eating. Protein, you probably heard protein a million times. Protein, protein, protein. But calories enable you to gain weight, but then how much protein you eat and how high quality that protein is determines how much of those extra calories that we eat are muscle, if that makes sense. Because otherwise, if you eat a ton of calories and you don't eat any protein and you don't train in the gym or anything, then that turns into fat. You don't get fat by eating fat. That's not how it works. Fat is an essential nutrient. So if you see the things in the store like low fat and everything, just don't eat them because they're just piped full of chemicals. Instead, just eat normal fat. Fat is very good for you. But calories, if you eat like an excess amount, like way over what you should do, when you don't burn them, when you just let them sit, it turns into visceral fat. And that basically just means visible fat that just makes you look fat, right? Like this. So I had a lot of unused energy that I had here. So all of this energy right here was not being used, and it got turned into visceral fat, essentially. So that's what you don't want. But how do we actually get protein? Because there's loads of different sources of protein. And I always thought, whenever I went to the store, I was like, oh, I need as much protein, as much protein, as much protein, because, you know, I'm trying to be a bodybuilder, right? I'm trying to get a good physique, so I need protein, protein, protein. And that led me to getting these really easy ways of getting in protein shakes. So I've got, you get these ones at the shop, like chocolate ones, 25, oh, that's supposed to be 25 grams of protein. And then I got one from Impact, you know, My Protein. How many times can I say protein? I'm going to try and not say the word, right? So Impact Whey, and that has what, 19 grams of the P word in there, and it's only 100 calories. Wow, that's fantastic. And it's white chocolate flavor. But you see, these are all just pumped full of chemicals to make them taste nice, first of all. It's not just the protein, because all protein powder is sorry, I failed the challenge there. All protein powder is filtered milk. So it's just milk that the protein has been filtered out of it, and it's completely fine, it's completely safe. But then they add all the other crap. So when, say for example, your parents say, no, you can't have protein shakes, you can't have protein shakes, it's terrible for, it's a drug, it's steroids. It's not, but all the other crap they add inside, like all this like chocolate, you know, like weird chemical, like emulsifier, dextrose flavoring or something, you know, like some weird thing on the back, and it's got like 50 grams of sugar in it. That's what your parents should be aware of, not the protein, because the protein powder is completely fine in and of itself. But we still have an issue. 1 gram of protein does not necessarily equal to another gram of protein. So let me explain. As I was talking about before, protein quality. Sorry, I couldn't find a high resolution image of any of this, so it's very dodgy. But proteins aren't all the same. So there's these things called amino acids, which are just inside protein. Like, that's what protein's made of, amino acids. And depending on which amino acids you have in these sources, like milk, for example, that determines how high a quality the protein is, because I don't actually know all the scientific names of them, but say you have like, you know, you have 1, 2, and 3. In milk, you have 1, 2, and 3. So you've got like the entire selection of the amino acids, whereas in peanut you've only got half of that. So maybe you've got like number 1 and a bit of number 2, but you've not got the rest of number 2 and number 3, if that makes sense. So you've not got like a full protein. And so, for example, peanut, if you were to eat a gram of protein, you'd only be able to absorb half of that, which is a problem, because when you're trying to track your macros and trying to eat everything, and you think you've eaten 200 grams of protein, you might have only eaten 100 grams, right? And what I really noticed, is when I was eating, I'll get onto it in a minute, but clean bulking, when I was eating a ton of meat and a ton of eggs, I went on keto for a while, which basically means I eat no carbs. So the only way I was supposed to gain weight in any kind of way or get my protein in was by eating meat and eggs, and that was basically all I was eating. I ate a few vegetables as well, which, you know, I didn't like, but the meat was, I just loved eating meat. That sounds a bit dodgy, but I was just consuming a ton of meat compared to what I would normally, and I noticed ridiculous results. Like, I was getting super lean whilst my strength was going up in the gym. So I was losing fat at the same time I was building muscle. And that's probably because before, when I wasn't eating so much meat, I was eating these really low quality proteins, meaning that I couldn't actually use the protein. And all plants, every single plant, this gets quite scientific, but every single plant in the world has anti-nutrients in them. And what that means is that it blocks the absorption of certain minerals and vitamins and whatever, and nutrients. So when you eat soy protein, sure, it's only 0.94 of, you know, whatever you need, so it's equal to 0.94 of a gram of protein. But it's got anti-nutrients in them, meaning that you can't absorb it anyway. So you can't even absorb this portion of it. So we'll do this, a peanut. So it's half a gram, right? So in fact, let me get the tool out. I've never really used this before. Yeah, okay. So you have got 0.5 grams of protein within this peanut, right? So you're already at a disadvantage. So instead of consuming the 1 gram that you thought you were consuming, instead you're consuming half a gram. So you're already at that, it's like not even worth it at that point. And then it's got anti-nutrients in them that block half of it. Maybe even more, depending on how bad the anti-nutrients are then. Or how bad the anti-nutrients are, how many of them. So at that point, you're at a 1/4 gram of protein. So you're getting a 1/4 of what you thought you were. So if you ate 100 grams of peanuts, just say for example, you thought you were getting 100 grams of protein in the peanuts that you were eating, you'd only be able to absorb 25 grams of them. How messed up is that? So you think you're putting on weight, putting on mass, putting on size, and in reality you're not, because the protein is just not usable. It's called bioavailability. That was a bit deep. I don't expect you to understand all of that yet. That's completely fine. but you should be aware of that. So if you're eating meat and basically animal products, all animal products are like number 1, right? So they've all got like a number 1 on them. So as you can see here, we've got casein, that's a type of protein. That's got 1. Eggs, milk, beef, or like steak or whatever. And then whey isolate, that is protein powder. That is pure protein powder. So I actually used to have, I'll show you in a minute, I used to have pure protein powder. So it was literally unflavored, no additives, no nothing. And it was just protein powder. And it tasted way better anyway. I'll explain that later. But it meant that I was consuming no crap, no like stupid, weird, you know, S325 emulsifier, you know, like some weird chemical. I wasn't consuming that. I wasn't consuming all the sugar, but I was getting the correct protein that I thought I was, compared to if I ate some like peanuts and I was basically being scammed. So, if we think about that, if we go back to these dirty, bulky foods, so say for example we go back here, or just like any sort of dirty bulk that you can think of, like pizza. Let's take pizza for example. That's got, say, like 20 grams of protein in like the pizza that you have. Most of that you won't be able to absorb, so you're probably only getting about 3 grams of protein. And then on top of that, you're getting a ton more sugar and a ton more chemicals within the bread, within the pizza and everything. So you're literally getting less protein, more sugar, and more chemicals if you dirty bulk. So Sam Sulek is wrong. He's taken a ton of steroids and he eats a ton, so he's going to gain weight. But for you, my lad, that is not going to work. You're just going to put on, weight, but not the right type of weight. And you're going to feel bad. You're going to have like brain fog all day, and you're feeling like dead lethargic, and you won't be able to recover as well. Just everything. Just when you don't eat like a normal diet, what you're supposed to be eating as a human, it's not going to go well. It's like if you fed a dog chocolate, it's going to die, right? Because it's not the type of food that it should be eating. Or like if you don't give bamboo to a panda, if you give a panda like grass or something, like it's just not going to work. And it's the same thing. We're eating all of these chemicals and sugar and stuff that we shouldn't be eating. That's not designed for us. Like we don't have the enzymes to break down this stuff, so we're going to get messed up. However, if you clean bulk, then you're going to get more protein. You're going to get the protein you think you're getting. You're not going to consume as much sugar. Try and limit the amount of sugar as possible, and that includes carbs. And you're not going to get any of these weird chemicals if you're doing proper clean bulking, where you eat whole foods, which means single ingredient foods, so like potato or broccoli or steak. So what does it actually look like, clean bulking? Just before, this is what I thought clean bulking was, because it's very deceptive online. You know, everyone's saying, oh yeah, just eat this and clean bulking, clean-ish bulking. But it looks quite a healthy meal, right? I've got some nice peanut butter, I've got some bagels, and I've got some banana. It's quite healthy, ton of calories, ton of protein. Can't absorb most of that protein. Can't absorb most of it. It's got pea protein, that's what's in the bagels. And the peanut butter, peanuts are half as much, so I'm not absorbing as much as I should do. I'm just eating a ton of sugar from the bagels and the peanut butter and stuff. Actually, there's not much in peanut butter. And then a ton of chemicals, like that's what it's made of. That's what the bagel's made of. It's just pure chemical, because it's like a pea protein one. Anything that's vegan or gluten-free or something is just completely pointless, because it's just full of crap. And then there's sunflower oil, and there probably is in the bagel as well, but there's sunflower oil in the peanut butter. And don't consume any seed oils of any kind. So this is what it actually looks like. So this is the milkshake that I was talking about before. This is the protein powder that I was eating, like just the plain protein powder. I put it in a blender. I'd put milk in it, full fat milk, and then I would have a banana, I think. And it tasted so good. It actually just tasted like a banana milkshake, because the other ones, all the other, you know, like strawberry cheesecake flavor and all that kind of stuff, it just tasted so artificial. Like I didn't actually enjoy drinking them, and they were bad for me, and I wasn't getting the nutrients that I thought I was. Like, how stupid is that? Whereas here, I was getting everything I knew I was getting, because I knew exactly what ingredients were going into it. I knew that there was a banana, there was protein powder, and there was milk. Done. That's it. That's all that's going into it. And it tasted amazing. It tasted amazing. Same with this porridge. I have this every day as a morning starter. It's fantastic. You've got oats, you've got milk, you've got banana, you've got peanut butter, but real peanut butter where it's 100% nuts. Actually, the one I've got is, in fact, what's it called? No, I won't search it up. I can't bother. I can't remember the name. Pip and nut. Pip and nut. Pip and nut. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. This one. So all that's in this, look, no palm oil. All that's in it is peanut butter. Sorry, peanuts and sea salt, and that's it. If you can find that, then perfect. But all the other, most peanut butters have like a ton of, you know, weird chemicals in them. And obviously I know I'm not getting all the protein from it, but it just makes it taste nice and it's healthy. Healthy fats. And then of course you've got the banana on top, so that's beautiful. In here we've got oats, we've got yogurt, we've got honey, I think. I don't really eat honey anymore, but I used to, it was dead nice. And then we've got some raspberries. And then here we've got eggs, we've got a bit of toast underneath, what's it called, sourdough bread. So it's literally just like wheat or flour or whatever you use to make bread. None of like the weird, you know, extra ingredients that you see in most supermarkets. So if you go to like I'm trying to think, like a bakery or something, you know, where they cook the bread fresh, that's where you can get this kind of stuff from. It's great, it tastes amazing as well. Avocado on top, some healthy fats, and eggs, as I said. So that's what clean bulking really looks like. So the important thing is, it's not just knowing what meals you're eating, you need to know what ingredients you're eating. Like you can literally sit down at the end of the day and say to someone, this is exactly what I eat. Like exactly. I eat banana, oats, milk, sourdough bread, so that's like flour and whatever else makes bread, etc, etc. You can name every single ingredient that's going into your body, because that way you actually know what's going into your body. Because most people don't know. When I ate a bagel, one of those bagels before, I had no idea what I was eating. I was just eating some weird chemical, like gluten-free, vegan, just, oh, it was ridiculous. So knowing what ingredients you'll eat, that is the takeaway from this video. If you can get to the point, it took me quite a while to figure out how to do it, and it was a lot of procrastinating as well, but it took me about a year or so. But finally I'm at the point where I know exactly what I'm eating and I feel phenomenal because of it. I have noticed ever since I've gone on this, since I've started actually eating real whole foods, my strength has gone up like a ridiculous amount. Like this is my dumbbell bench press. I was at 22 kgs and within a month, I'm now moving up to 28s. I don't make that progress. I don't make it that fast, and it just blew up out of nowhere. I was only on the 26s for 2 sessions, and this is the second one. So the first session I got 7 and 7 reps. I go up after 8, by the way. And then now I'm on 8 reps and 7 reps, so I'm gonna move up to the 28s, which is just insane because I don't make that progress. I have absolutely no brain fog. I do a little bit from carbs because you're gonna get them from carbs, but I'm not eating all like the seed oils and all the weird stuff. So I am able to sit down and focus on work for literally like 8 hours a day. I am not even joking. It's like, say you've got some homework to do. You know, you're sitting there and you're sort of like drifting off and just thinking about like some girl in school or something, and then you're trying to, oh, like, yeah, no, I need to get back. I need to grind this out. Let's lock in, boys, let's lock in. And then you just start, you know, scrolling on Instagram or something. I don't have that. I'm grateful because I enjoy the work I do, this editing, recording these videos, but I am able to hyper focus. Like, brain fog just isn't a thing for me, which is insane. And of course, I was able to lose fat, shred fat, whilst I was building muscle at the same time. That was on keto. That's not necessarily when you're consuming carbs, but on keto that does work. But now I am at a good point where I'm in the middle of that. So if you can get to the point where you're just eating meat and eggs for the rest of your life, you will be absolutely phenomenal. But as of right now, I am on carbs, but I intend to get rid of that eventually. So actionable step for today is to create a meal plan. I tend to use ChatGPT for this, just say what you need. So I am this weight and I need to get to this weight in X amount of time. I need to eat whole foods and I want to get to these amount of calories, this amount of protein, this amount of fat, whatever. And I need it to be cost effective, so make it as cheap as possible from Sainsbury's or something like that, right? And it'll just come up with it and just check it's all right and you'll be sound. So check it fits your macros and consists of only whole foods, that is the actionable step for today. And just quickly before you go, if you want to accelerate your progress, like instead of going through all these like little ruts where you're going through dirty bulking and trying all these different methods and getting fat and then getting dead skinny again and not getting to the desired result, I have a paid product in the description, first link in the description, and I will help you get to this point in a ridiculously faster time than my little skinny ass did. So I will see you over there, and good night.